Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Mortgage Coach Tuesday call. Very exciting month, very exciting day for me for a lot of reasons. One, we've got some amazing guests today, but two, I represent 7 years of doing these Tuesday calls. I think I've conducted over 400 interviews, hundreds of amazing mortgage professionals. So this is one of the favorite things I do is CEO of Mortgage Coach. And this month, we've got an all-star cast. We've got Scott Cummings today. And then I think I mentioned last month, we're going to have Steve Harney come in sometime in the first couple weeks of every month and bring his insights. So we're going to have Steve Harney this morning also. Next week, we have Ann Lohr. We're going to talk about emotional intelligence. We've got Coach Bill Hart, Simon Sinek, who has been on my list of people that I most want to interview and who have had the most impact for me and as an entrepreneur. So I'm really excited about that. And then we're closing the month in the last week of July with Craig and really drilling down on how to do business as a mortgage coach with CPAs and financial planners. So I do want to remind everybody, hopefully you have already signed up for the Simon Sinek webinar on July 22nd. But if you haven't, make sure you sign up. And if you have signed up, regardless of whether you're going to come or not, if you have not watched his TED presentation, 18 minutes, I watched it in 2009, and it was, not just my favorite TED presentation, it was the one that had the most impact as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a husband, as a human being, just getting clear on why. And the word why not only is defining from a standpoint, it's such a powerful word when it comes to solving problems, getting to know people. You just ask why 3 to 5 times, and you usually get to the core of it. So again, as I said, we had 2 amazing guests. We're going to kick things off with an section with Steve Harney. Steve, I know you're going to share some of your insights that mortgage professionals can use families. But before we go, I'm just curious, have you watched this TED presentation with Simon before?
I don't know how to say this outside of saying our company's culture is around that presentation. Every single person in my organization is forced to watch that multiple times because it really goes to the essence of what we stand for as bridge builders, and also on the KCM side and the Realtor side. It's part of who we are. And if no one has ever seen him before, definitely watch that. And I'm going to be on this also. He's probably one of the smartest business thinkers or thought leaders in our industry or in the business industry, of this generation. So our whole life, our whole culture is around Simon's why.
Love it. Well, I knew you were going to say that. I knew that answer because we're so aligned from a why are we both in business to help families make more confident decisions. So, Steve, I'm going to pass the screen to you and have you walk through the insights. I do want to make note that your voice is coming in and out, so if there's any adjustment you can make on your side of things, you might want to make that.
Okay, is it still coming in and out?
It's actually better right now. It's better right now.
Okay, then I'm going to stay, and I'm not going to move my head whatsoever at all because I only have a few minutes, and I'll get through that. One of the things I wanted to do, ladies and gentlemen, is probably when I'm talking to agents, when I'm being interviewed either on radio or for magazine publications, and even when I'm talking to industry leaders on the real estate side, the number one question everyone asks me is, are we heading for another housing bubble? People are nervous about that. And if the professionals in the industry are nervous about that, what I'm really concerned about are homeowners and buyers worried about that right now, because that will just cause everybody to slow up and hesitate a little bit. And if a seller is worrying about that, that might be what's locking up some of the inventory that we have to get released in order to keep on moving. If a homeowner feels that, if another bubble's coming, I'm better off staying right where I am instead of moving up and getting, hit hard. So we have to know how to answer this question, and I want to take a couple of minutes to go over some things that we're sharing with our people on this issue. All right, first off, Jack Gutentag is professor of finance at the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. Just this past month, this is what he said. My view is that we are a long way from another house price bubble. Home buyers, investors, lenders, and regulators now understand that a nationwide decline in house pricing is possible because we recently lived through one. So what Professor Guttentag is saying is, you know what, we're not going to get loosey-goosey with mortgaging and regulations and all of that again. Now, I really do believe in Deming's, it's a great business philosopher, what he said. Giving me information without data is just proving I'm another person with an opinion. So let's really look at the data we're talking about there. Here's the historic data for the Mortgage Credit Availability Index, a report by the Mortgage Bankers Association. We can see from 2008 to 2015, that has kind of been relatively level with an uptick over the last 2 years, a slight uptick over the last 2 years. So people are saying, well, if mortgage availability is getting easier, then maybe we're going back to 2004, 2005, and 2006. So let's go back in time and see whether that's true. Here's the Mortgage Credit Availability Index for those years. The higher the graph, the easier it was to get credit. So what we can see very easily is there is no chance that we're back to where we were in 2005, 2006. Professor Guttentag is 100% right. Just this past week, Nick Tamaris of the Wall Street Journal tweeted, U.S. home prices are back at 2005 levels, but if you adjust for inflation, we're actually at 2003 levels. Predictions of the new national home price level look unfounded for now, according to the data. That's the Wall Street Journal head real estate reporter saying that. But again, I love quotes, but I love actually showing you instead. Here's the S&P Case-Shiller U.S. National Price Index going all the way back to January 2000 to the current number. What the Wall Street Journal explained is if you bring the bar back, now we're not going to adjust for inflation, we're not going to go that far, but we can see is the number we're at right now is the same number we're at this time in 2005. 10 years later, with some inflation during that period of time, minor, but some inflation, we're still at the same number. So prices are not going crazy. Another way to look at that is my staff went all the way back to 1975, and we started charting the S&P Case-Shiller U.S. National Price Index. And then what my staff did is they said, all right, it was in between these two boundaries. It bounced in between, in this range. So what they said is, let's bring those ranges all the way out. If normal appreciation, the same appreciation we experienced from 1975 to 1990, for those, 15 years, what would have taken place? Where would prices have been? And what we can see, if we now go ahead and put the prices to where they actually were, we fell a little bit below that in the early 1990s, because we had that rush in the late 1980s. All right, and then the bubble went up, it came down below that mark. But where we're settling at is still within that range. The same range from 1975 to 1990. We're in the top 25 percentile of that range, and we'll see as it continues to move forward. But there's no big spike up like we saw in 2005. And the last quote I want to share with you is the Chief Economist and Senior Vice President of Research and Information Technology right at the Mortgage Bankers Association, Michael Frantantoni. I don't really see it as a bubble. If you look at price-to-income ratios, they're really not out of bounds the way they were during the boom period. So again, the Joint Center for Housing Studies at Harvard University just put out a report on housing in the United States. In the 2015 report just broke 2 weeks ago. And in their report, what they showed was, all right, let's take a look at the median payment-to-income ratios in 1990, 2000, 2006, when I was at its peak, and where it sits today. Again, Mr. Frantantoni is 100% right. What we're seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is we're nowhere near a bubble because the things that made it a bubble in 2006 don't exist today. Now, we do see it's ticking up, and that means we have to make sure that we get in front of as many buyers as we possibly can, first-time home buyers, second, third, fourth-time home buyers, and let them know that if they want the best deal they can get, now's the time to buy. All right, and probably the best report that I saw from that same Center for Housing Studies study that was just released is here's the monthly mortgage payment on the median price home in the United States from 1990 to 2014, based on 2014 prices, comparing apples to apples. They, in each case, they put a 20% down payment down. Looked at price, the median price, looked at interest rates, and this is the payment the consumer would be paying. Again, it doesn't look like we're anywhere near a bubble. We're in a really good place. This is the type of information I'm sharing with the bridge builders this month, because I really do think that we have to answer this question, and if we're not hearing it, we have to know. Dave, that's what I wanted to share today. I hope I gave you people some good information.
Yeah, as always, Steve, you gave us tremendous information, tremendous value. So, folks, if you haven't already, connect with Steve in his Bridge Builders program. Steve, if you could just give the website and any information for anyone who wants to connect with you at bridgebuilders.com.
Sure. It's www.bridgebuilderskcm.com. www.bridgebuilderskcm.com. We're more than happy to help you in any way possible.
Well, grateful for you to come in and share what is a premium service that you provide to the industry and provide it to the mortgage coach community. So, folks, there you have it, some facts, some evidence to support that the current market, while it's extremely healthy, it hasn't gone outside of the ranges that would be anything like the type of bubble we experienced in 2005, in obviously 2007, 2008. Not a good time in the mortgage business. Want to remind everybody, Steve also brought some great slides in at the beginning of last month, and his cost of waiting, or the cost to buy, why to buy now. Remind everybody you could do that in Mortgage Coach with the total cost analysis, and Steve's got some great slides to add to your website, to your marketing, to your presentation, and together we help you bring more leadership to realtors and to help families make more confident decisions. So, Steve, feel free to stay on this call as long as you can, although I do know you have another interview, so jump off when you need to, but thank you very much, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to jump off right now. At the bottom of the hour, I have an interview again with one of the Realtor magazines, so I just want to give myself a little bit of time for that. Thank you very much, and you're all looking for, I wish I could stay on the call because you're in for a real treat. Scott's a special person, and he's going to prove to you that his people know his clients, his customers know he's a very special person. Again, Dave, thank you very, very much for the opportunity.
Right on. So, folks, I have seen some alerts that some of you are having challenges hearing Scott. I think that is either an issue with your internet or with the GoToWebinar network. Hopefully, I'm clear. I know I was able to net it out, although there were a couple rough spots. Do want to remind you, we do record these calls, so if you want to listen back to it, you can record it. And these slides are available in the handout section. So if you look at our GoToWebinar control panel, in the bottom, there's a section called Handouts, and both Scott's slides and Steve Harney's slides are available there for you to download. So, Mr. Scott Cummings, welcome to the Mortgage Coach call. Good to have you, my brother.
Glad to be here, Dave. I'm totally excited, and it's an honor and a privilege to share today.
Good. Well, thank you, as always. Scott has been a close friend of mine for years. He's been a mentor. Scott and I mastermind together when I was an operator in the business. And there is no finer mortgage professional in America than Scott Cummings. When he goes and tells his story and shares some slides in a minute, I think that will be evident and obvious to everyone. So, what I want to do for a minute before I bring in Scott, I want to make sure we really align this for everyone. Everybody on this call can deliver something more than a fee worksheet. And with Trade coming, it's going to make more sense than ever that every time you deliver rates, fees, options to a family, you deliver advice, you do it with Mortgage Coach, you do it in a way that's branded for you as a mortgage professional, but most importantly, you do it in a way that integrates with the realtor. Because with Trade coming, it's going to be more important than ever that the realtor's in the loop and that the way that you communicate with the realtor is more efficient and more effective. When I interview top loan officers, everybody tells me, on average, it takes 5 man-hours to originate a loan. When you go through the process of, taking the app, the initial conversation. Again, Mortgage Coach is a great way to deliver, purchase options. Mortgage Coach is a great way that once that firms up and gets into escrow, you update the video, you update the notes. And of course, a lot of loans have a change of circumstances. It changes rates and fees, update the notes, update the video. Again, closing is where loyalty starts. So again, another opportunity to update the video, update the numbers, and then again, to continue that after the funding to show people, hey, if you paid that extra $100, how much faster would you pay off your PMI? Or how much faster would you be able to move up into that nicer home? So it's more important than ever right now that everybody who's a mortgage coach integrates Mortgage Coach into your realtor experience. And there's no one better than Scott to walk you through how he does that and share his vision around what he calls story selling. I know we put these slides together, Scott, you called them, stop selling, start sharing. So if you wouldn't mind sharing your screen and walking us through your story a little bit and your vision on sharing and story selling.
Awesome. Can you see my screen, Dave?
I can see it.
Cool. And, I wanted to start with Simon Sinek, circle back to that. And I am so excited to sit on that call with him. I've watched that TED Talk many, many times. I have a penultimate I use on my iPad where I take handwritten notes. And I was just looking, I have 16 pages of notes I took from that TED Talk presentation. And I really think the great thing that he teaches, and he's obviously the master communicator, is he's all about communicating from the why to the how to the what. And what we're going to be talking about today is really very aligned with that. I drive my business and run my business this way for many, many years. And what we're going to be talking about today is I believe many of us are out there communicating from the what to the how, and maybe we get to the why. And when Dave and I were talking a few months ago about this idea and talking about the power of story and creating an emotional connection, how cool that we can have our talk today. You can listen to Simon Sinek in a couple weeks, but we're really going to go deeper today on the why. And the same thing from the why to the how to the what, which Simon does such a beautiful job explaining. And the other thing really is we think about today, I want to challenge all of us as mortgage originators. Today is going to be about how do we have a different conversation with people? How do we create credibility, whether that's with a consumer, with a referral partner, and how do we educate and empower our clients in a meaningful way, and truly meaningful? And Dave was just alluding to TRID, and there's never been a more important time than now. I love, my whole business is about educating and empowering people. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and I think it's going to be awesome. So let's get started talking about this. And when we came up for the idea of this talk, and Dave asked me to share this, I wanted to start here and to really think about story and the context of how we see it. Story is how our grandparents passed down, family history and experiences. I just had an awesome 4th of July barbecue at my mom's, and just hearing her tell stories about, my kids growing up with her or me growing up as a kid, and story is so powerful. And I want you to think about 3 things I think that will resonate with all of us. The first is the Olympics. And think about all of us, who doesn't love the Olympics? And what I love about the Olympics is not necessarily watching a track and field event or someone just ripping down, the ski run and winning a gold medal. Don't we all love when they pause from the competition and they go to the backstory? And it's all about the backstory, and it's about the athlete. And, I'm just kind of making this up as we go along here about some fictional athlete. But don't you love hearing that, they had some disadvantaged childhood, maybe they couldn't walk till they were a certain age, and, they had all of these issues, and they've overcome everything, and here they are winning a gold medal. And I think whatever those stories are, I believe it's in the backstory that really brings the Olympics home and creates that emotional connection that touches and inspires all our lives. And so whatever the story is that the Olympics are sharing, I believe that's a great example. The other thing I was thinking about is think about like movies. And I was just jotting down some notes before we got on the call here, and I was think about like Rudy. I mean, what an awesome movie. Just that story of overcoming everything and how that inspires it. Coach Carter, I was thinking like Apollo 13 is another one. You watch that movie and see what everyone committed and they overcame. you know, one of the ones that just really sticks out to me is The Pursuit of Happiness. Just another incredible story of an individual who was determined to succeed in life. And, you know, he had that great moment in that movie where he sees the Ferrari and it just changed his life. And he's like, that's what I want to do. And just worked so hard to accomplish his dreams and his goals. And so I think when we see movies based on true stories, when we see the backstory in the Olympics, those are huge. And then think about historical figures. I mean, just think about when we learn the story of great people like Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Lincoln, Mother Teresa, Jesus. I mean, there's all of these people that have had such influence and impact on the world, and when we hear their stories, it all inspires us, and it creates a connection, and I believe it inspires us. So when we start thinking today about our story and working with clients, they're not going to be on the scale of some of the people we just mentioned, but I do believe we have the ability to dramatically impact our clients' lives, to be someone who does come along as a professional, to educate them, to empower them, to make a difference in their lives. And so if we think about it from the three examples, the Olympics, the movies, and historical figures, the 3 bullet points on the bottom of the slide, I think, sum it up. And they're deeply moving, they're inspiring, and they create an emotional connection. So we're going to talk about that today. This is kind of a fun place, I think, also to start. And I wanted us to think about our own story and our power of connection. And think about many times when we're meeting people, clients, and could be a realtor, a CPA, whoever it may be, when we're meeting someone, there's a connection. Many times that connection is a result of commonalities in our lives. And I love this picture. I was over at my mom's a few days ago, and I was looking for a picture, and this was just such a classic photo of me on my bike, and just how much I still love. I was on my bike riding a couple days ago over to my mom's for a barbecue through the mountains, and just love it. And so think about talking about your childhood, your hobbies, your interests, kids, parenting, our education, sports, maybe where we grew up. You know, all of these things, these are our own stories that we can bring to this. And think about, outside the context of this, think about business and your own story. I was just interviewing someone for a new position on my team, and we were talking, and the person was like, oh my gosh, and just told me this whole thing about the first homeowner experience, and it wasn't the best, and, you know, getting caught in the housing crisis. And you hear all these stories that come out. We ought to be able to share our story. What about the first time we bought a house? What about the first time we got a mortgage? What about our challenges with debts or budget or whatever? There's all of these things that are part of our lives that sometimes I believe it's helpful when we relate or convey those to our clients or referral partners, because we can identify with each other. We can create a connection. And so think about your story, but where we're going to really focus today is talking about our clients. This is a picture I took recently, and this is a picture of my testimonial letters and thank you letters and cards and notes we received from clients. And I haven't counted them in a while, but my best guess is it's probably approximately 1,300 letters we've received from clients. And one of the things I did years ago, I had plaques for achieving certain goals. I took them and I threw them all in the trash. And I thought, who cares about the plaques? I want to be more focused on the clients. And so the greatest thing that I love in my business and career are these books of these testimonial letters. And it's a great opportunity. I had them out the other day and was just sitting here flipping through the pages. And all of these brought back memories of clients and things we did and sharing how we made a difference in their lives. And it's a reflection of our commitments and how we serve our clients. And I want you to think about creating your own book of stories. And if we think about having your own book of stories, it's a way that helps you remember to recall those, to share those with people. And it's just a reminder for us. And I believe it's such a powerful thing. What I love about my testimonial letters today is I don't really give them out to anyone to read. They're just sitting on my desk. But if someone will come in many times, I'll ask them, when was the last time you wrote a thank you note to a business? Many times the answer is it's never, or it's been forever, or I haven't done it in forever. And just to pull a book out and just set it on the desk and kind of open it up and just show them the volume of thank you letters and cards and notes, that's creating credibility, it's creating trust, and it's creating rapport, because it's showing that other people that we work with felt compelled to share their just an expression of gratitude with us. And so think about creating your own stories. And let's talk about how to do that. When I think about helping you create your own book of stories, I believe that it's paramount, critically important that you have a way, a system to create, to capture, to store, and retain the stories. And one of the things that just stood out in my mind recently, how we're doing this, one of the things where we're really excelling is, I know in the month of May, I had 13 of my 16 purchase transactions were clear to close 3 or more days, some 12, 14 days in advance. And so because the market's, kind of blown up and people are stressing out, we're still performing at a very high level. And so one of the stories that I'm telling today is we're clear to close. And how cool that I'm able to reach out to people and say, hey, we're clear to close 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, whatever it may be early. Would you like to move the closing date up? That's creating story around something that's relevant, because where the market activity is combined with purchase and refinance business, many people can't deliver. So that's a way that I'm capturing them, and I simply have an email folder to do this. So any stories you want to capture, whether it's an email folder, using your testimonial book to remind you, taking out your iPad and trying to capture some of the notes, or maybe it's you as an originator, or if you have a team, like I have a team of people, we have daily team meetings when we get together, I'm always asking them, tell me a great story. Who's someone we're helping that we're making a difference in that we may want to share that or talk about that? One of the things we're going to talk about today is also, I believe what Dave offers, Mortgage Coach, the total cost analysis, is one of the best ways for us to share stories. And I don't share client scenarios with another client. I don't want to do that for financial privacy. But what I'll do is I'll create sample scenarios about, I'll show you a photo in just a second. Maybe it's rent versus own, or the home affordability and its impact of rate movement or something. But I like to have a few samples that I can share with people. And so think about creating your own total cost analysis and what that might look like. The other thing I think that's really important is we're learning a new skill, and I think it's going to be absolutely awesome for you to go listen to the Simon Sinek TED Talk, listen to his presentation. I believe learning to communicate and share stories and build those into our presentation, it's going to take practice like anything else that you're doing. And so you want to practice. Is it a team member? Is it a spouse? Is it another originator in your office? And work on just making that a smooth part of your presentation. I promise you it will be super, super impactful. So let's drill down now and kind of some best practices, or give you some ideas. And we're going to look at 3 different areas of your business and give you some ideas where you might want to start thinking about how you've helped people, how you could capture a story, and how you might be able to share that with someone else. Think about first-time buyers. What an overwhelming experience to step up and buy your first home. What about sharing that with other people? I recently had some clients in my office buying their first home. They came in, they'd met with a couple other lenders, and it kind of started with, hey, we don't want to be sold anything, we're just shopping rates or whatever. And I said, cool. I said, I'm not here to sell you anything. I said, I'm here to educate and empower you to help you make an informed decision. I said, I believe if I give you all the tools and resources and assets, you will be able to make your own decision. So 10 minutes through the conversation, the husband leans over and gives me the fist pump across my desk, and he goes, dude, thanks for being legit. And I thought, how cool is that? We've shared that story. I had another young first-time buyer in last year, and she'd gone to another lender, and they had said that FHA was best for her. And I said, well, how do you know? And they said, well, they said so. And I said, gosh, I said, what if I gave you the facts and the figures and the tools and the resources? We use Mortgage Coach to do it. I said, let's create a sample total cost analysis, and let's look at options and educate and empower you and give you the facts and figures to make an informed decision. We punched all the stuff in, and we found that a 5% down conventional loan with no mortgage insurance was a dramatic savings over FHA. So we gave them the tools. I believe everyone wants the tools. They want the ability to make their own decision. So think about doing that with first-time home buyers. Achieving home ownership. Think about how many people that you may have helped that maybe were in an apartment, a young couple, maybe had a child, and they just wanted a place to get a puppy or to raise their children and have a backyard for barbecues or space for a garden, whatever that may be. Think about sharing how you've helped someone achieve home ownership. This is another great one. Real estate offers. Think about how many home buyers will go to make an offer on a home, and they'll say, hey, take $5,000 off the price of the property, and they think they save $5,000. Well, let's presume it's a first-time buyer putting 5% down. Well, the lender's financing 95%. They're just putting 5% down, so how much should they save out of pocket? So maybe we create a total cost analysis and walk them through, well, gosh, what if we ask the seller for a $5,000 closing cost allowance? That might help you if we got your closing costs and prepaids and things paid. So I think it's again, we're educating the buyers that there are other ways that may save them money, that may help them achieve home ownership, that we may want to show and illustrate to them. Lender comparison with rates and terms, this is a great one. If people are shopping, which I think everyone should shop, tell them, say, hey, bring in the rates and fees from another lender or two, and let's sit down. We'll build a total cost analysis, and I'll add all their rates and fees. I'll add my rates and fees in, and may the best man win, right? And that's another way to create a service that's value added, that's allowing them to compare and look at different terms and options. Home affordability, I think that's huge. I'll show you a slide in a minute. I think home affordability is, and we know this as mortgage originators, is going to be more greatly impacted by the potential increase in interest rates than price increases. And so I think we want to talk about and show people, what does home affordability look like? How might that change or alter for them if rates move? How to prepay your mortgage. This is one of the new things we're really going to focus on and spend more time on with people. We've helped everyone get into debt. I believe we should be showing them how to get out of debt. And for the people who want to prepay their mortgage, man, what if we could show them 2 or 3 different options? What if you paid $100 a month, $200 a month, or $300 a month, or whatever it may be, and we help them based on their goals, their estimated length of home ownership, achieve those goals and give them, again, the tools and resources to educate and empower them to do it. I think that's awesome. And if we can do this for people, wow, how cool is that? I helped one of my clients, it's been a few years ago, I can't tell you, 3 or 4 years ago, when we were helping people refinance their homes and people were upside down. One of the people that I helped them save some ridiculous sum of money. It was a couple $100,000, pay the house off 12 years early. What a cool success story, right? So helping people prepay their mortgage is a way to build safety, security, build home equity, and it helps them with this home ownership and be more secure as homeowners. Again, another thing you may want to talk about and share stories how you've helped people. And think about it, everything we've talked about today is really empowering people to give them the tools. Here's a simple example. It says I did this back on March 31st, 2015. This was just a look at, well, rates are around 3.99 on a conventional loan. What if they go to 4.5? What does that look like? What if they go to 5? And it was, again, just addressing home affordability and rate impact on that. We saw during the month of, the last month, we saw rates go up about 0.3%. And so it's a very real concern, and it does have a very real impact on home affordability. Let's use some tools and resources to educate people. One of the other things, when we start thinking about sharing stories with people, I believe mobile is a game changer. And if you look at this slide, I don't know what you're watching the screen on, but it says right below the company logo, it says rent versus own analysis. So again, here's just a sample analysis. It's not for anyone in particular, but it's just something talking about rent versus own. That may be one thing. If you're out and someone goes, oh my gosh, we've always wanted to own our own home, we don't know if it makes sense or not, you could pull out your mobile device and say, hey, here's a sample rent versus own analysis. You kind of walk them through it, say, I'd love to prepare one for you, love to learn more about your personal situation. I'll prepare it, I'll email it to you, come to the office, we'll prepare it face-to-face. It's another cool way. So I think mobile, I'm using mobile, and we're going to talk about when we go meet with realtors and financial professionals, but I believe it's a game changer in this idea of sharing successes. Let's talk a little bit about realtors. This is where we all spend a lot of our time with realtors and builders and other people like that, and how do we share our successes with them to sell more homes, right? And that's really what everyone is asking is, how are you going to add value to my business? So if we think about it, here's kind of some ideas that I use, and maybe you can incorporate these into your business. Think about one of the things I believe we have to do, and it's paramount, and it's going to get back to the Simon Sinek, right? Communicating from the why outwards versus from the what inward. I think one of the key things to create a distinction between us and the competition is to stop telling that we're quicker, we're faster, rates, whatever thing you're selling that everyone else saying. I believe we have to stop that. You, as a professional mortgage originator that's using great tools like mortgage codes, we have to start having a different conversation with a client or referral partner. I believe story creates the opportunity for us to have a different conversation because it takes the focus off of me or you, and it puts it on, let me share how we've helped someone. Let me share how we're making a difference in people's lives. Let me share how we can sell more homes. So a couple things. Again, I'm using Mortgage Coach Mobile. If we go back to this, this was an actual meeting with a realtor, and you can tell we're looking at a sample mortgage coach analysis, and I'm sharing about how we educate, how we empower, what we're going to do for their clients, how we're different than just getting a rate quote. That doesn't really help anyone. Let's quantify their decisions over their estimated length of home ownership. That's going to make a difference. So if we go back to this. Yes, sir?
Hey, Scott, I want to jump in real quick because I want to make sure everybody really, one, connects the dots, and two, learns something here. So first of all, if you're on this call, pull out your mobile phone and click on the Mortgage Coach app. First of all, that's something that you should be able to do quickly and confidently. and to be able to pull up a strategy, or as Scott would say, a story. And so Scott, let's first talk about your mobile device. You have an iPhone. Again, for everybody out there that has an Android, no difference. iPhone, Android. When you're talking with realtors, typically, are you showing that with your iPad or with your iPhone? What is the typical storytelling device?
Cool. Thanks for asking. I use both. I have with me my phone and I have my tablet. In my case, they're all Apple products, and so I'm able to pull out and have a conversation where I'm shifting from I want to spend time about them, what's important to them, how can we wow them, how can we help them, and have a great high-trust interview, as Duncan has taught for so many years. But then what I want to do is I really want to shift into talking about how we're educating and empowering clients to make informed decisions. And so having my mobile right there, I have a conversation about, hey, what kind of phone do you use? They may say, oh, I'm an Android or I'm an iPhone. I'm like, cool, this is the phone I use. Let me show you when we create analysis for a client what that looks like. How is it accessible? How, when you do it, they can share it with a financial professional, they can share it with a parent, they can share it with a kid. It's the shareability of it and the visual nature and the accessibility of the data is so important. So in this case, I'm using my iPad, but I use both devices and pretty much all the things that I do.
Okay, so something else I want to make sure everybody understands is with, once you go to the link and you see there's a link, there's also a history button. So it's important that, when you're going into a meeting with a realtor, you have some thought as to what are the 3 or 4 strategies / stories that I may want to talk to them about. So if you're going to someone that they do a lot of first-time home buyer business, you want to make sure you have that rent versus own loaded in your history. Scott, what are the 3 or 4 strategies that are most commonly in your history folder, so that when you're going into a meeting, you're ready to quickly and confidently pull up a specific story and walk them through it? What's common?
Right, and if you name it correctly, if I go to my phone and I click on the Mortgage Coach app and I click on the history button, as I click on that, I have them named. So if I click on history, I can see right here the first one that pops up says RVO, and it's a rent versus own. And so that's one that I know that it's a rent versus own sample, boom, I can click on it. I show a sample analysis. I've got one it's just a sample client called Sam Sample, and it shows a 30, a 20, or a 15. Again, I believe the key is to show them the technology that you're using, how someone can interact with it, and to show them that it's so much more than, hey, let me send you a good faith or a fees worksheet or, quote someone a rate or go to my website. This is far more impactful, and we want the people that we're working with that potentially may refer us business to see that there is a huge difference between someone who's quoting rates and someone who's going to take the time to build an analysis based on someone's financial goals and objectives.
So real quick, anybody that does not know how to put different links, have them in order in your history folder, or you're just plain old confused when I'm talking right now, like what are they talking about? Come to our Thursday call at 9 o'clock Pacific, and we'll make sure we address how to have the mobile conversation with realtors, and we'll also focus on why buy now and rent versus own. So again, come to our Thursday call if you have any questions around how to have a mobile conversation with realtors. So Scott, before you move on one more time, because I really want to make sure that it's a great idea, it's a powerful idea, but I want to make sure everybody can tactically execute it. So you know what's in history. You're able to confidently pull out your mobile device. Now, I've heard a lot of people, have that, call it the mortgage coach conversation with a realtor. First of all, how much time is the actual mortgage coach piece where you're pulling out the app, you're telling a story? How many minutes are we talking about?
It's a few minutes. Again,
like 3 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes. I've never timed it, but it's, again, when we're meeting with people like realtors and builders and CPAs and financial planners and trust attorneys, I believe our focus, our time should be on them. How can I help? Tell me about your practice. What's important to you? How could we wow you as a lender? What are the 2 or 3 things? How could we communicate effectively? How could we help you? I want to spend my time there. I want to take copious notes. I use Penultimate. I take notes. It's all by topic, how, what, wow. And then we switch to this. This is maybe 5 minutes. Again, the focus should be on them. I believe where this becomes more powerful, it's kind of like where we're going to head on some of these next points, is let's show them how to use this technology so they can sell more homes.
Absolutely. And the point I wanted to make to everybody is we're not talking about a technology demo. And it's not about the technology. It's about the story. It's about the family. It's about how you helped a family make a confident decision. It's how you helped a family that was on the fence make a confident decision to get off the fence and get in the market. It's about how you differentiated the realtor. They referred that borrower to you, and now you delivered a superior service and value, and you helped them make a confident decision. So everybody on this call, you need to have a 3 to 5 minute mortgage coach conversation with every realtor every time you meet with them. And if you're not comfortable and confident about that, or you don't even understand why you should do that, come to our Thursday call, and we will drive that for you. Also, for anybody on this call and you're already doing this, you're like, yep, Scott, this is what I'm doing too. I would love more pictures. That picture that Scott sent me of him sitting down with a realtor, our marketing team and our training team is looking for more examples of mortgage coach delivering value to realtors directly. So please forward those to me, any pictures or testimonials from realtors at dave@mortgagecoach.com. Anyway, Scott, keep it rocking. This is
cool.
This is fantastic.
Cool. Well, do me a favor. Dave told you to take your phones out. Put your phones back up and focus on me. So no surfing the internet, no playing on your phones. So let's drill back down on taking this technology, taking the power of story, and how do we help people sell more homes, specifically realtors in this case. I believe the next point is think about this. How many times have us as originators, we meet with a great realtor and they go, oh my gosh, I'm primarily just a lister. I don't really work with many buyers. And that may be the case. Many of those people may be buying a new home, but many times we hear, oh my gosh, I just work with a lot of listings. I don't work with a lot of buyers. I tell them, I say, that is awesome. What if I could help you sell those listings quicker or faster or bring more potential qualified buyers to those homes? Right? And ask them questions like, do you have a property that you're trying to get another price reduction to make the home more marketable? And many times we go, oh my gosh, they have those homes, right? And so it allows me to open up a conversation and say, well, gosh, what if we talk to the seller about a seller-paid closing cost allowance? What if we talk to the seller about adding some creative financing options on there, and that would help more people come to their home, qualify their home, and help maybe someone short cash to close. We're now doing things that are creatively helping the realtor sell more listings. Many real-world examples. I've done this. I say, send me the listing. I create a mortgage coach analysis. I've emailed it to the realtor. They go meet with the seller, and it's been super helpful. So think about, even if they mention listings, say, hey, I'd love to create an analysis to show you some ways that will help make that home more marketable to a buyer. Think about being on a realtor open house tour, or whatever they may be called in your market. Another great example, you go see 6 or 8 homes. What if you had a conversation at that realtor tour? They always give the lender a chance to speak, and you say, gosh, here's what I've heard, and let me share you about some seller-paid closing cost allowance, creative financing options, whatever it may be. Hey, I'll take your listing. I'll send you an analysis. I'll call you and follow up. It creates another engagement. It creates an item of value. Super impactful to help them sell listings, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity. And think about if they share our total cost analysis with a home seller that shows a professional mortgage planning presentation, ways to help sell their home versus just cutting the price. They may contact you and say, wow, I was so impressed by that. We're selling this home to buy a new home. Maybe you could be a resource to them. So again, it's a win-win for everyone. Open houses, we probably all know this, but how many buyers walk into a home looking to purchase a home in a specific geographic area and they don't really understand home affordability? Well, use Mortgage Coach to create some information to have in the home that could be a handout from the realtor to the home buyer. We all know this. I don't know how many of us are doing it, but again, the market's pretty busy. It's a great opportunity to provide value, to educate consumers, and potentially create some more potential business for you. Creative financing options, we talked about that, about selling your listings, but I think another idea we can use Mortgage Coach and the total cost analysis for is, what if there's a new product or program that comes out? What if it's a change to USDA? What if it's a change to FHA with mortgage insurance premiums? And, when FHA mortgage insurance premiums going up versus conventional PMI, what if you said, hey, let me create a sample analysis to show you for a typical first-time buyer in my market, the average sales price in my market is blank. Here's what that would look like. Here's maybe other options to consider. Again, it's showing your market expertise, your knowledge of loan products, and your willingness to help provide more options to sell more homes. It's a great win-win. You can do that all day long. Timely and relevant to the market and the meeting. This really gets back to sharing successes and talking about stories. And so I believe you've got to look at your market, your conditions, what's going on. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? All of these things, what is relevant? And I believe look for stories that are relevant to the market. I believe it says also and meeting. And what I mean by meeting is look for stories or scenarios that you can share with the realtor that's specific, or the builder, or the financial planner, whoever it may be, that's specific to them. If they say, gosh, my expertise, my love and passion are first-time buyers, we want to come with sample total cost analysis for first-time buyers. Maybe there's some success stories of how you helped other first-time buyers, unique financing options, their high-end move-up buyer, whoever they are. I want you to go prepared with sharing more stories and talking less about you. I've been guilty of that my whole career. We've probably all been guilty of that our whole career, because we're proud of our business. We're proud of what we do. So sometimes we can start talking about us, and I don't believe that's helpful. I've done this a long time, and I'm still working on it to get better at it. I believe we need to be more humble, more gracious, and share how we're helping. That is the way to proceed in business, I believe. Let's talk about financial professionals for a little bit. Dave, and I've been friends for many, many years. Back when he was originating loans, Dave built his practice really working with financial professionals. And when I think about financial professionals, this is me in my office, one of my screens showing a sample mortgage coach analysis. And what I want to talk about and maybe share with you some ideas and thoughts. Financial professionals meeting, and this could be insurance, CPA, attorney. It does not matter who they are. I believe I would encourage you to bring them to your office. I rarely ever meet with a financial professional in their office. I bet it's 99%. I can think of one meeting I've had, gosh, probably in the last 6 months or 9 months, that I went to someone's office. All my meetings, we bring them to the office because I want them to see our office, that it's a professional work environment. I want them to meet my team, to meet everyone they're going to be interacting with, and I really want them to sit down at my desk. We go back to this photo, and I want to show them what does a sample client experience look and feel like. It's a perfect example to talk about us, our business. Maybe I show them some testimonial, the book of testimonial letters. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn and I'm going to focus on Mortgage Coach, and we're going to spend some time talking about how we create analysis and what that looks like. And we think about what we're doing, and point 2 really talks about this. It's showcasing mortgage planning versus the average loan originator experience. I was working with a financial professional recently in the last month or two. I'm terrible with dates, but recently, and they reached out to me and they said, hey, a client is looking at refinancing, and they got the mortgage loan officer just gave them just some printout, like a one-page, here you go, And I don't remember what it was, but it was just like, here's kind of estimated rates and fees and closing costs, like we might all give out someone, right? And so I told the financial professional, and they reached out to me, and because they know how we work, I said, gosh, what if I got their goals, their objectives, estimated price, all the things that are important to them, when do they want to have the home paid up by, and I said, let me create a total cost analysis. So I create a total cost analysis, and I send to the financial professional to use in the meeting with the client. What was more impactful, a Xerox copy that they shared with the financial professional, or a full-on total cost analysis based on their goals, their objectives, when they want to have the home paid off? It was, and we got the deal. I mean, who wouldn't get the deal versus a one-page printout versus a 4 or 5 page total professional mortgage coach analysis based on all the goals, objectives, all the closing costs, all the fees? That's the way to win business. And so if we bring them to our office, I believe we can share with them, here's how we work. Here's how I have a different conversation. Here's how we're mortgage planners versus just quoting people rates. We're here to make a difference. Mobile, again, we've talked about mobile, I think, enough. We don't need to have another sidebar on that. I think the thing with mobile, again, we want to show financial professionals that this is what we're going to give the consumer. and this is how the consumer lives, how they interact with technology and things, they'll be able to look at this information. They could bring their tablet to a meeting with you and show you what we prepared for them. I just think, again, mobile is a game changer because that's where we all live. Total cost analysis. The other thing I think really is to think about it. For many of these people, it's just an additional planning tool. And it's not a tool that they take and incorporate into their business because everyone has rules and regulations and they can't do it. But it's a planning tool that I provide sometimes to a financial professional that will use that data to plug it into whatever system they're approved to do business on and meets their compliance. But it gives them facts and figures that they can then go plug into a plan maybe they're preparing for someone. So think about, it's another wonderful resource for these people. I think also it really starts to showcase us as market experts. I wanted to show you this too. I thought of this, and hopefully this will help you guys as well. And ladies on the call, one of the things that I think we can do is, what if we took the information we get from Dave, the Rate Watch thing, and what I do, and this is an exact one I did you can see here it was probably the end of June if I look at the graph on the dates on the bottom. And so I'll cut and paste that. I'll drop it into my weekend rate update and see where it says, well, weekend rate update, it says commentary and current rates below. I'll then write an update and analysis on the market. Maybe there's a cool link of a news story that came out, so I'll say, hey, here's the latest new home sales. Click on the link to go read the story, and then I write in current rates. We do the APRs, all the disclosure stuff goes on there. But it's another way I believe we can use some of the resources to talk about the market. I believe having the graphs and things like this to have an awareness of the market, what's causing the market to move, and to show people that we watch these things and that we are informed professionals. Again, it's a great way to make a difference. Let's talk a little about this. I'm going to be done in 2 minutes.
No problem. Before you close out with the 2 minutes there, Scott,
yeah.
I do want to push everybody, if you have not already downloaded the Rate Watch mobile app, you can either go to search and type in Rate Watch, or type in Rate Watch, by the way, one word, Rate Watch one word, or Mortgage Coach. And just a great way that when you're out meeting with a realtor, when you're out telling stories and strategies, you can not just tell, you can show. So if you're on this call and you have not downloaded the Mortgage Coach Rate Watch app, don't multitask, wait till Scott's done here, but do that immediately after this call. And I also want to make sure everybody on this call knows how to share that. So click once you're on the day watch or a screen, click the share button and send me an email or a text. Just email me. Dave at Mortgage Coach. I would love to make sure everybody on this call knows how to not only pull up and show that in person, but also knows how to share it. So immediately following this call, please email me a screenshot of Rate Watch at dave@mortgagecoach.com. Go ahead, Scott. I've got about 3 minutes of closing thoughts.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, I'll finish. We'll give some time to close out here. So I wanted to kind of summarize with these thoughts from our time together. And, I love the honor and the privilege, and it's such a blessing to come share on these calls because really I'm like everyone on this call. I'm in the audience 99% of the time. 1% of the time, it's a privilege to come speak and share. And I'm no great superstar. I'm just some guy originating loans. Just like you, I'm out on the street building relationships, building trust, meeting with clients, the same thing we're all doing every day. And I hope that you got value from this and that you'll incorporate it into your practice. And so I thought I'd close with these couple points. We'll be done here in 2 minutes. I believe the power of story becomes a game changer. And I believe it becomes a game changer because it's allowing us to go deeper relationally. We're no longer selling. We're building relationships, and I believe more relationships equal more referrals. And what I'm looking for, I'm not trying to do business with everyone on the planet. I just want to go deeper and build these relationships with people and add value to people's lives. And so think about understanding that this gives you the power to go deeper relationship because it's sharing who you are. Remember we talked about the movies, the historical figures, all of these great examples that we talked about, the Olympics early on. Use these stories to connect on an emotional level. That's the why. That's That's what drives people to make decisions. You're going to learn so much about that from Simon Sinek. You know, you're going to build way more trust and rapport doing this than selling your quicker, faster, cheaper, whatever that conversation may look like. I believe this is the path to more success. I'm not a great salesperson. I just think I'm a great mortgage guy who's just been in the business for a long time. And so, again, this isn't really about selling. It's about educating, empowering, and connecting. You're going to create your own stories every day. I would really urge you to capture them, because I'm sure since I've been on this call, many of you have thought in the back of your minds, oh my gosh, and you remember a client that you helped and you dramatically transformed their lives and you really made a difference, and you're like, oh my gosh, what was their name and what was the specifics? I want to encourage you to have the daily discipline to capture these things. The last 2 points to think about is I want you to think about anytime you're on these calls and you hear someone share about their practice and how they do business, the only way you're going to see a result is you've truly got to make it your own. You can't, it doesn't really become powerful in your world or your business and your practice until it's your own. So I would encourage you, whatever that may look, to practice, to work on it, to have drills, to do whatever you do so that they become yours. And last, I just think you got to start sharing about how you're making a difference, and it's gonna change your business. I promise. It's been such a blessing in our lives to work this way, and I hope it does the same thing for you. So thanks again for allowing me to share, Dave.
Well, Scott, as always, you deliver tremendous value strategically, tactically, from the heart. Really appreciate the time you took to prepare for this call. So everyone, let's wrap up with a few thoughts. And Scott, feel free to jump in with anything that comes to mind. You know, first I want to remind everybody that, you know, this email should be in your inbox, and we want to get, not only do we want to make a change with mortgage professionals, so please share this with your colleagues, whether they're a mortgage coach or not. This is going to be something that helps mortgage professionals get a bigger why, a deeper why, a more personal why, to not just be an app taker, not just be a rate quoter and a pre-qual, but to help families make better decisions. Also share this with realtors. I would love to have hundreds of realtors so that we're just growing leadership within our industry. Make sure you click on that TED button, and even if you have watched that video, watch it again. I am taking the assumption that everybody who attends this interview has already watched that. So this interview I do with Simon will not just be a repeat of the video he did. You know, we may cover some of that for 5 minutes, but I'm really it's going to be next level, and it's going to be mortgage industry specific. If you're a realtor, if you're a mortgage professional, how to grow your own why, and how to deliver more impact to the families you serve. So Scott, you obviously do a great job in how you deliver the mortgage coach experience at point of sale when you're meeting with realtors. I want to remind everybody, in the Mortgage Coach app, you can now add a video or drive a live experience in the Mortgage Coach app. So make sure, if you don't know how to do that, come to our Thursday call, but you can look up client stories. So again, another great idea, while you're meeting with a realtor, you can go, you know, search all of your reports and pull up examples that are relevant to that client. And I saw Jeff Nunley do a shout out that before he goes into a meeting with a realtor, he's already created a video. Well, you know what? You could have just met with a realtor, and you could now edit and add a video as you're driving away, just kind of reaffirming a conversation that you had and bringing color to a story that you talked about with that client. So the combination of numbers with a video impacts everybody. You know, this is one of the things that's so important as we prepare for TRID, is that we all know that there's going to be more over disclosing. There's going to be more conversations with realtors and borrowers. Start adding videos. Start updating your mortgage coach report throughout the sales experience with the family. Make sure you've always been using it at the front end. Now it's something that you can update the video, you can update the numbers, you can do it to help have a more efficient, more effective closing and play less phone tag with people. And then again, you can do it to create more wow and more lasting impact for the family. So the Mortgage Coach product team was very thoughtful about how we created this interface, so that if you've already added a video, it's really easy to just replace and re-record that video. So Jeff Dunley, you know, we've made it easier. That, you know, this was a comment that Jeff made in the go-to-meeting. Jeff, we've made it easy for you not only to have a video as you go into the meeting, update that video as you leave. Also, one homework assignment I want to make sure everybody on this call goes through. If you did not listen to this call with Nikki Groff a few weeks back called Modern Marketing and Trend Prep, this is just required. This is where Nikki took our scripts, our tools, and she made them hers. You know, a great example of someone who not only leads a super successful branch and team, she is the marketing leader for Wallach & Volk. So she took this, she made it hers, she created her own scripts, and the leadership she's providing to the people that she leads. So this is what we want every mortgage coach to do. Take our slides, take our process, take our scripts, make them yours. So Scott, I'm going to give you the final words. It's truly an honor. I think I've interviewed you and had you on calls at least a half a dozen times. So you always crush it. What are some of your final thoughts and words as we wrap up today's call, Scott?
A, thank you. You're such a champion for our industry. You're always trying to add value, bringing great resources to all of us as originators. And so on behalf of everyone on the call, I just want to say thank you to you first. Secondly, I hope that our time today inspired you. It's, again, I believe we win through making a difference, and that's where I've tried to live, and I hope it inspires you to do the same in your practice, and thanks again for allowing me to share.
No, right on, brother. Appreciate it. If you could just check the poll that I have up right now. If you're a guest to this call and you want to learn more and you want to demo, click the last option. But let us know what you thought of today's call. Were you wowed? Did we give you some solid takeaways? Let us know what you thought of today's call as you exit the call. I do want to remind you, these calls are every Tuesday. Every Thursday, it's a trainer actually helping you implement our tools better. And every Friday is for beginners. So if you haven't created 20 or more reports, come to our Friday class at 9 o'clock. And finally, to take action on this call, make sure every time you're meeting with a realtor, you're having a 3 to 5 minute mobile conversation. Make sure every time you get a referral from a realtor, make sure that you're sending them an MCTCA with a video after you meet with realtors. And make sure you're always looping in the realtor on your email to the borrower from referrals. Also, from a training perspective, I want to remind you that we have our Mortgage Coach University the first 3 weeks of every month, so that's happening right now. And don't miss next week's call with Anne-Laure. It will be on emotional intelligence and not only how to be a better leader to realtors, to families, but to your own internal team. And finally, remember to help promote and share the Simon Sinek call, and make sure you watch this last video. So guys, this is a wrap. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week, and thanks for taking time to join the Mortgage Coach community. Bye now.